This conference will now be recorded.
You want to make it for me. Well, you need to kids, right?
She's coming. Oh, she got it. Yeah. She just had to walk over.
All right, good morning, everybody. Hope everybody had a great morning and a good breakfast. Looks fantastic. I'm gonna pass today. I was telling Gabe in the back, I'm intermittent fasting. You know, that's the new trend, but really just skipping breakfast. I thought, if I'm up here sitting talking, a biscuit's probably not the best thing in my belly right now. So, you know how those nerves work. Hey, good morning. My name's Ted Smith with State Farm. I'm your chairman of the board this year for the Nacogdoches County Chamber of Commerce. Thank you all for attending. We're ready for Christmas, and we knew December was going to be a good one, so we'll get started. With that, I'd like to first recognize some of our VIPs and directors. We've got Robin Dolly, County Commissioner. Gabe Trigo, did I say it right? I kind of butchered a little bit. There's Gabe, right now, Gabe, our new superintendent. He's doing great things. Appreciate all you do, Gabe. And then we've got Sherry Morgan with the CVB right here. And for our board, we have past chairman, Claire Robbins. Hi, Claire. And we have our chair-elect, Dr. Todd Brown. Juan Gonzalez, he's one of our vice chairmen on the executive board. Thank you, Juan. Anybody else? Did I miss anybody? I think I got everybody. All right. And I'd like to also introduce our two first ladies of the chamber. First is my wife, Dr. Holly Smith. And I'd be remiss if we didn't recognize Miss Betty Sheen. You know, when I met Holly 15, 17 years ago, they were, I don't even know what it's called back then. They were raising money for the chamber. And
Selling memberships.
Selling memberships. Okay, keep it simple, stupid. But I remember they said you were the godmother of the chamber or something like that. Well, I just met Holly 6 months before that, and she was your godmother in training. That always struck a nerve, and you and I have had a kinship ever since then. So thank you for being here. All right. And I would also like to present our presenting sponsor is Atheon Energy. Without them, we couldn't do this today. So thank you, Atheon. And our gold sponsor today is Harry's Building Materials. Thank you again, Harry's Building Materials. At this time, I'm going to ask Claire Robbins to come up and give our invocation.
Good morning. Kelly asked me yesterday if I'd like to pray, and I said, yes! It's an honor to pray. So if you would please bow with me. Dear gracious Heavenly Father, we just come into your presence, so thankful for this time together, this time that we can gather and have the kinship and fellowship that we've missed for so many months. God, we thank you for this food, the hands that prepared it, and we ask your blessings on our business today, that we go forth and honor you in all that we do and give all praise and glory to you. We pray this in Jesus' name, amen.
Well, good morning, everyone. For those of you who don't know who I am, I'm Wayne Mitchell, and I have the privilege of being the president and CEO of Nacogdoches County Chamber of Commerce. It is a pleasure to have so many of you folks join us this morning here. And those online, we're extremely pleased to have you join us as well. I do want to take a few moments. I see the fellow that was probably most instrumental in my being hired here has joined us this morning, and it's our friend Rusty Rust, who is the president and CEO of CBTX. And I'm going to tell Rusty that one of the reasons he gave me the best advice I could ever have had when I said to him after they made the decision to hire me, it was 5 years ago, I said, Rusty, what is the key to success in being CEO of the Chamber in Nacogdoches? And he looked at me across the table and he said, Wayne, these 2 words. Yes, Betty. It was the best advice I could have had, and it worked extremely well. We do have a few events coming up here very soon. We do have a few events coming up pretty soon, not the least of which tonight. Where's Holly and Madison? Would you stand, please? These young executives tonight will be hosting us with a live after 5 in Nacogdoches beginning at 5:30 tonight. And here's the deal. You have promised that Santa and Mrs. Claus will join us, right? They will be there. So if you want to get off the naughty list, it's a good opportunity to be eating their lobbying tonight at Nacogdoches. And that's going to be enjoy delicious food from Tommy Catering, one of our new chamber members, refreshing beverages. They win a cool door prize. Tour the facility and hear more about what Nacogdoches offers. And so we want to thank Holly and Madison for the planning for this event. We're looking forward to joining you tonight. Also, we have had an enormous amount of ribbon cuttings lately, which I hope is an extremely good sign as women either choose to locate, expand, or renovate in Nacogdoches. And today at 11:45. We're going to have one at Empower Yoni Lounge, and my understanding Audrey's with us today, which is our host. We're looking forward to joining you this afternoon, 11:45 as well. We're also going to have one at 3 p.m. on Monday, December 14th at Wax On, Wax Off, celebrate new businesses in town. They're here as well. Can we just say hello, and I'll introduce you more formally in just a second. At 2 p.m., we'll have East Texas Cancer Center Alliance for Hope celebrating an office opening in Nacogdoches. We are going to have an annual meeting, and our chair is here today, Betty Shin, and we'll be making the final decision about the logistics for that meeting hopefully sometime next week. But once we do, we hope to put it on the calendar. Leadership Nacogdoches is halfway through the program year. Our program chairs are here with us today, Charlotte Ashcraft and Paul Smith. The class has named 2 service projects with the Boys and Girls Club at Deep Beach, Texas, and Nacogdoches Hope. And they're doing just some marvelous things and having some great programming. We thank the great work that Paul and Charlotte are doing in helping that class facilitate that class's involvement. SFA Chamber Connection and Paint the Town Purple are encouraging more businesses to show their purple spirit. We need to support SFA. We do have flags here for $25. Our member of the month is Surf Pro, Lufkin in South Nacogdoches County. We have new chamber members. We have Raise Your Hand, Texas, Sigma Gamma Fraternity, the Rusty Spur, Lash On, Wax Off, the Plant Shed, Texas Rowing Center, Empower Yoni Lounge, Hearst Premier Installation, Spot On Surveying. I'm going to have to be an auctioneer in my next life. Natural Stone and Designs, SFASU Office of Diversity and Equity and Inclusion, SFA Information Technology Services, SFA Enrollment Management, SFA Office Vice President for University Advancement, Buffalo Wild Wings. We have their representatives here as well. We're going to introduce them in a minute. And Smith Sawmill Service with my friend Paul Smith out there in Kingston. And I do want to say that Sherry Williams has her guest here today. I'd ask Casey Hill and Harold Combs and Josh Johnson, would you stand, please? These are our representatives from Buffalo Wild Wings. From Natural Stone and Design, Amanda Johnson, would you recognize, please? Great to have you with us, Amanda. Lash On, Wax Off, Lauren Lynn. And once again, Empower Yoni Lounge, Audra McClure, who will be joining a little later today. And for the Texas Rowing Center, Mary McKinnon. Mary? really thank you folks so much for joining us and being a part of the program here today. It's always a pleasure and dangerous to introduce your boss, but I get that honor today. Since I've been in Nacogdoches, I've had an opportunity to work with extraordinary women, and then many are in this room, and I suspect online as well. This fellow and I became associates almost the first week because he's been on the board since the beginning of my tenure here at the Chamber of Commerce. I have a tendency to try to identify the personality characteristics of the women and men that I have the privilege of working with. And it didn't take me but a minute to identify what I was going to be working with in the person of Ted Smith. At that point, he was one of those key leaders in the development department at SFA, and was doing an extraordinary job of representing their interests in so many different ways. And then he chose to venture off in his own enterprise with the State Farm Insurance Agency here, and in a very short period of time has become a major player in the insurance market in SFA. What impressed me most, and my spot on description of Ted Smith is this: he's a motivator, he's a coach, he's a leader, he inspires people, and it's just the type of person that we want as a leader of the Chamber of Commerce. I've been privileged to work with, starting with Rusty Rust in this room, and Claire Robbins, and so many others that I've worked with since I've been here with extraordinary leaders. And I'll be honest with you, your success or failure to a great extent depends on the women and men that choose to step forward and lead this organization. And so it is my privilege and my pleasure to introduce my boss and your Chamber of Commerce Chairman of the Board, Mr. Ted Smith.
Wow, thank you, Wayne. I guess he knows we're talking about his bonus later today.
I don't, but I do.
Yep, you got it. Whatever he says, however you want to. Oh, I'm just kidding. Hey, thanks guys for being here. When Wayne asked me to co-speak with him today, I thought, oh my God, what are we talking about? He said, well, let's talk about what's been going on. What everybody knows what's been going on. Everybody knows about COVID-19, but what's the Chamber done? What have we done as an organization to adapt and overcome? And when we talk about next year, what's going to be our theme? We wanted to regroup and reconnect. What we found out pretty quickly is everybody wants to get out and do something, but we also have to do it safely. We also have to take into account for other people. We have to help stop the spread of this terrible virus. And with the vaccine on the forefront, and I heard just this morning that someone in England has already had the first vaccine. So we might have created it, but they're getting the first one. So we'll let them be the see how it goes. But I just want to read a few things that we have done, that's some bullet points. Like I said, this has been a strange year. We've all had to adjust. There's been jobs lost, there's been businesses lost, and most importantly, there's been lives lost. The COVID-19 pandemic has hit everyone in one way or another. It's affected how we live our lives. It's affected how we do our business. And it's evident by, just wearing face masks. Everybody's having to do that now. And just some of the things we've had to give up that we're just not accustomed to. But I think we're doing a great job. I think this community's doing a great job. Our numbers spiked really high in the very beginning, but that's because we were on the forefront of testing. We tested more than anybody else in East Texas, so yeah, our numbers look high. But because of that testing, we were able to take a proactive response in protecting ourselves and protecting our loved ones. So your chamber has made some changes. We've had to change, we've had to adapt, we've had to overcome, and from the get-go, the chamber established resource guidelines on its website. So right off the bat, we set guidelines that you could have access to information to help you run your business and how to comply with county and city and state and nation restrictions. We had PPP loan information. We had applications. We had regulations from local, county, state, and national officials. It was a very, very good piece of informative. We may have lost our networking ability. You know, we didn't have all the Alive After Fives where everybody comes and networks, because that's a huge part of the chamber. But we became a resource for you. We became a place for you to go for information. And under these times, that's what we had to do. You know, we had webinars, best practices. We provided regular updates on hospitalizations. I mean, I was getting emails from Crystal.
You're gonna have to get me some like corners or something.
Somebody online, use the microphone. They're trying to talk over me. All right, man. Okay, we encourage our businesses to comply with these state regulations and these requirements. We provided links to vital resources to help business navigate these challenging times. We provided signs, posters for businesses. I've got some on my door right now that I got from the chamber. We promoted many programs and webinars to help members adjust to changing environment. So basically, since the start of the COVID-19, and we realized we couldn't have events any longer, we adjusted and we provided more information to you. I think Wayne and his staff have done an outstanding job to make that adjustment. You know, having these Tuesday conference calls where you have the Senator Nichols on there, or Senator Corn, or Senator Cruz. I mean, that's huge. Little old Nacogdoches, Texas, and we've got U.S. senators coming to speak on our front. I mean, I don't know if you can get that kind of information anywhere else. It's fantastic. So I credit Wayne and his staff for what they've done to put that together. Very good. Speaking of those conference calls, there's been over 25 of them with guest speakers from local, state, and national. You know, these calls have resulted in media. We've had over 90 media stories from both the Daily Sentinel and from the TV stations that have been on broadcast or print. And that's information they got from us, from the chamber. You know, many of our members permitted the chamber to redirect their sponsorships. We had to cancel the Lone Star Legislative Summit back in April. And you're talking tens of thousands of dollars in sponsorship that the chamber needed. Several of those sponsors said, hey, keep the money. You know, we need the tax write-off anyway, but you guys need it more than us. Keep the money. I wish we could present that list, but I know Wayne's not going to let me do that. But thank you to those businesses. If you're out there and you're one of them, thank you for your dollars. We needed it. It went a long ways to help promote this and change our attitude. Let's see, the chamber staff participated in many online meetings. You know, they had to become educated. Kelly, Barbara, Sherry, they all had to become educated with COVID-19 and how to adjust, and how are other chambers. You know, that's another thing I commend Wayne and his staff for. Our communication with the Lufkin Chamber, it used to be a divided line at the river. That bridge has been rebuilt. I mean, there's a fantastic relationship with them and the chamber in Longview. So Wayne has built that relationship so that we could say, hey, what do you guys do? Hey, what do you see? And sure enough, Tara, is that her name right? Tara from Lufkin contracted COVID-19 from their golf tournament last spring. I mean, that was, here we are thinking, okay, let's have our golf tournament. We put the brakes on it pretty quick. And if it wasn't for the relationship between Wayne and Tara, we hadn't known that. So thank you again. And speaking of golf tournaments, we did push it back to October and had a fantastic tournament. We had to change it a little bit. We did tee times instead of shotgun start. If you don't know what that means, it's not pulling a shotgun in the air. Maybe it used to be back in the day, but it went off great. You know, you tee off and you get tee off 10 minutes behind the next guy. So we kept social distancing. Just don't get behind Gary Lee because you'll be there for 7 hours. Love him to death, and the guy knows how to milk a tournament. I don't know if it's, you know, you gotta tell him about it. Love you, buddy. Gary's one of those other people that, like with Betty Shea and Gary and Charlotte, that Holly introduced me to 17 years ago, right off the bat. So I've known them quite a while. You know, the chamber assisted our protocols to comply with state and local regulations. A lot of people fought it at first, thought this, you know, this is black magic, this isn't even real. But we had science, we had the state, we had county officials telling us, here's what's going on, here's what you need to do. And we relayed that information to our 800 some odd businesses, and you guys listened and did a great job. As I spoke a minute ago, several major events were canceled. We canceled the Blueberry Festival. Has that ever happened? Does anyone remember? I mean, this is a huge 20,000 person event that we just had to stop. And we still don't know if we're going to have it again next year. I hope we can, but we don't know yet. So we'll see. You know, the chamber served as a hub for information, for distribution. Many members and community citizens call the chamber daily. I mean, these guys were taking calls daily from businesses and community members. What's going on? What are we doing? What, are you open? Are you closed? And they had to phone those calls. We published retail and restaurant guides up to date. Okay, what restaurants closed? What restaurants open? What restaurant has drive-through? You know, which what do they have? So chamber provided that. And I hope that this all came to you as a value resource to you, as it did for me. You know, the area guides and maps were delivered to key locations, hotels, restaurants, B&Bs to promote Nacogdoches. A lot of the hotels shut down, but from what I heard, a lot of the Airbnb, the B&Bs went up. You know, I know our friend Kent Hutchison, everybody remembers Kent, moved down to Orange, Texas. And Kent, if you're listening, I'll brag on you a little bit. He moved down to Orange, Texas because most of his business was down there, but then he had 3 hurricanes in a row hitting South Texas and Louisiana, so he had to come back, and he stayed at B&B every time, came back to Nacogdoches. So utilization, great. I tell you what, we work with NEDCO, CVB, the city, the county, the state. The relationship with NEDCO and the CVB is better than it's ever been. Our city partners have just been very, very good to work with, and that goes back to Rusty and Claire and the relationships they built with those people, and Wayne just taking it and handing it off. SFA, our relationship with SFA is as good as it's ever been. Dr. Scott Gordon is on our board of directors. I mean, we just had a meeting with him the other day. We've got people like Dr. Brown on our board. Brian's husband on our board for years, almost as long as me. I think he came in 1 year after me. To have those kind of people on your board of your chamber is huge. I mean, we all know that SFA is the single largest employer of this city and county. It's nice to know what's going on over there. You know, and we got new people like Gabe coming in with new, fresh, and bright ideas for the NISD, and he's already making changes. He's making very positive changes. We're all just so happy to have relationships with these people and give this information back to you. You know, we want to be a source for you to come to and say, hey, how do I get to meet Gabe? How can I talk to Gabe about this? Or how can I meet Dr. Gordon? How can I get information from him? Come to us. We'll help you. We'll help make that connection. We'll do our best. You know, sometimes it's hard to get a hold of. So I hope what we've done has succeeded in adding value to your membership. You know, we're not doing the live after fives as much. However, we got one tonight. First one since what, March? I think we canceled April, so first one since March. So you guys come out. We tried to get together with our partners with Nacogdoches AC. We just couldn't make it work in November. So maybe we'll get back on that schedule next year. And we've done a lot. We can do more, and we need to do more. So I'm here. You can come to me at any time. I'm your chairman of the board. If you have a question or concern, 210 North Street. I may make you get an insurance quote while you're there, but I'm going to listen to you. I'm going to take notes. If it's about life insurance, I can help you with Paul Smith. Yeah, he's got a few years on him. My Uncle Paul. But, you know, guys, it's just time for us to refocus our resources, and that's what we did. We overcame, we have adapted. That's your Marine slogan. I think what they say, hoorah, after that. I wasn't a Marine, but my brother was. 3 brothers in the military, so glad to say it. So it is time to regroup. It is time to reconnect, but we need to do it safely. Tonight at the ribbon cutting, at the live after 5, please wear your mask. Please social distance. Don't touch Santa Claus. We don't need Santa. Don't sit in his lap. Just look at him, wave. I'm bringing my kids there. It's going to be really hard not to get them to jump all over him. But, well. But anyway, guys, thank you. I appreciate the time. And at this time, I want Wayne to come up, and he's going to tell you some objectives and agendas that we're going to have going forward. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Chairman. We appreciate all that you are doing and going to do for the chamber in the next 9 months. I'd be remiss if I didn't acknowledge my very talented staff that's represented in this room. We have Sharon Hurst is over there. We have Sherry Linus is with us as well, And then we have Buck Hall, who's sitting over at the registration desk as well. And Kelly Augustine, who's in the back of the room here. So I get well distributed in the room, taking notes, I'm sure. But all kidding aside, these women do a tremendous job on your behalf. And I'm blessed to have such a talented veteran crew that truly committed to Nacogdoches and to the chamber. Let's give them a acknowledgement. On a personal basis, you folks know I wear this really nifty stuff, and I got to at least acknowledge the fact that my wife gets me around everywhere, makes all the things happen. My wife wanted all you do. I got to confess to you, though, I've always been envious. We've been married, it will be 51 years in 5 months, and I've got to confess to you, I've always been envious of these colleagues of mine, men that have like really cool nicknames that their spouses refer to. Like, you know, I hear Charlotte often refer to Gary Lee as Cuddles. I mean, I've always wanted, 51 years, I've always wanted a nickname. And if I'm lying, I'm dying. The other night, on Monday night, I was getting into my bed a little bit earlier, I was going to stay in the other living room, but she came in to make sure I was settled in the bed, and I got into the bed and I laid down, and without me asking, I got my nickname. She bent down and she gently kissed me on the cheek and said, "Good night, Frankenstein." So, you know, be careful what you wish for. That's no lesson than that. And that is no joke, folks. Having said that, what a year it's been. It's been an incredible year. Chairman Ted provided you with a great update of what the chamber did. I'm not going to use the word pivot because Gary Lee doesn't like it, but we transitioned clearly this past year in many ways. And we're going to continue to transition in the next few months. Needless to say, the needs of our members has changed dramatically from the day I walked into this chamber today. Last year, at this time, I wouldn't be giving this presentation and talking about these things because, frankly, we didn't think it applied to us. My, how things can change in a year. What I'd like to share with you is a new process that the chamber is going to implement in the next few days, not weeks, to help us understand how we can use the chamber resources more effectively to help position, regroup, and reconnect, consistent with Chairman Ted's theme, to move forward in 2021. In addition, it's going to be important for us to understand the threats that are out there and the opportunities that are out there. And there are threats. As I indicated the other day on KTRE, we're not going to see a switch on January 1st, 2021 and everything go away. We're still going to have some challenges ahead of us. The bottom line is this. It's not important that what the chamber staff thinks you need. It's more important for us to figure out what you need, for you folks to tell us. So we're going to implement a very, very quick program to kind of transition to be more focused on the needs of Nacogdoches and Nacogdoches County. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to launch a research and data collection. We're going to use surveys, electronic, and you're going to start seeing those. Asking very few questions, but very important questions. What is it you're most concerned about in the next year that puts your business at risk? And what can the chamber do with its limited resources to help your business or your organization prosper? Businesses and organizations are interdependent. Everything we do will impact each other. We have to work in partnership. We can't all do our own thing. We can't duplicate and waste resources or efforts. We're too small a community to do that. The second thing we have to recognize is that we're going to have to interview folks that won't respond electronically. I'm thinking about using Operation Thank You for that vehicle. Not only will we express our appreciation, we're going to ask those 3 questions to our membership. We're going to have group meetings. I've already asked Chairman Ted if he would bring our various partners together, our education partners together in the community, county officials, city officials, NEDCO, CBB, and other key stakeholders, our social services folks like Gary Lee Ashcraft and others, They have their finger on the pulse of what's working and more importantly, what's not working in Nacogdoches. So that we can all work together on a unified agenda so that we can complement our efforts. You know, the chamber doesn't have enough resources to solve all your problems, but collectively we can get a heck of a lot done, making sure that the NASD gets the funds they need in order to service thousands of students that we expect them to service, because education is economic development. To make sure that FFA has the resources necessary to survive and to thrive in the next few years, helping them attract new students and new programs to university, like the aviation program and other things, but working in partnership with them. The second thing is we're going to become much more active in the area of advocacy to hopefully advocate for Nacogdoches needs. I was a little troubled by the headline this past week about where the initial distribution of the vaccine is going. Because the headline, if I read it correctly, said that rural Texas it was well served as other areas of Texas. Well, if that's in fact the case, we need to be the squeaky wheel and say that our nursing homes, our hospitals, our pharmacies, and our community deserves a vaccine just as every other community in Nacogdoches deserves a vaccine. We're going to have stronger and tougher messages, but that's what they paid us for. We're going to be, you know, Dr. Brown in the back of the word coined NEC a few years ago for our focus in our program. We're going to be stronger in networking, but we're going to do it differently. These video programs will be much more prevalent the next year or so. We're going to use new and innovative approaches to communicate with our members and our communities and the public policy officials. He used to say NAC, networking, advocacy, and consulting. And the consulting is the third part of what we need to do in realigning our chamber resources. Making sure that if a woman or man is struggling in business today and they come to us and they close the door and they say, Wayne, I can't get this done. Wayne may not have the answers. We have a university full of extraordinary resources that can help get that answer. We have community leaders, we have bankers sitting in this room with decades, if not centuries of experience in helping them deal with financial issues and to navigate filling out loan programs and helping them find sources of resources so that they can survive. Two things, jobs and taxes. We need a strong economy to get the jobs that Nacogdoches needs so that we don't overburden our social services distancing. Establishing chamber priorities will be the next responsibility after we begin these dialogues and gather this information. The executive committee and the board of my chamber is going to be asked to endorse the new plan of action for 2021. And we're going to try to do this in an expedited fashion. We're going to try to do it quickly. What does this mean to all of us in this room? Well, it means that all of us are probably going to work a little harder. You can anticipate phone calls from committee leaders, from chamber leaders and others asking for your input, your involvement, and hopefully your action. We'll need your input. We will need your help in implementation on these issues. We'll need your help in contacting public policy officials so that they understand that when they go to Austin or they go to a city council meeting and they're representing us, that our interests are on their mind as well as the interest of others. That's part of our job. We have a tremendous opportunity. I'll be honest with you, I'm kind of energized if you haven't figured it out and excited about it. Because we're not going to do the routine stuff. We're going to be doing a lot of new things in the next year. We can help our business survive and prosper, which will mean jobs and increased taxes so that our county and our city can continue to service us and that we're competitive. We can reposition Nacogdoches for investment. Where we can't run this project, we can hopefully implement a new project. We can stop and amend and propose legislation that will help protect business and most importantly, position East Texas so that we're not ignored in the legislative process in Austin. We can develop a plan for Nacogdoches to help us accomplish great things while eliminating things that are no longer relevant to our community or the needs of our membership. The old saying that out of crisis comes opportunity has never been more appropriate. Today we have an enormous opportunity, but it's going to take all of us. It isn't going to be done just by the chamber, but by others sitting in the room. It'll be the NISD, it'll be the CVB, it'll be NEDCO, it'll be Stephen F. Austin State University, It'll be the city of Nacogdoches. It'll be our media partners. Josh is sitting in this room here, and Rick Craig. I'm going to tell you something. They've been an enormously under-recognized vehicle for us to get our messaging out. I'd like to just take a moment and thank you folks for the work you guys are doing. That's not to say that they will disagree with some of the things that we propose or say in the next year. I'm not asking for that. But I recognize that I can go to them and say, here's an idea or a program, and most often they'll print or publish what we say. We may be at odds with city councils in the next year, or even state government or state leaders. But our job is to protect the women and men that are paying the dues and paying Wayne Mitchell's salary. I mean, that's the bottom line. My bread is buttered on us getting done. And sometimes, you know, again, saying things in a certain way is not the most popular thing, but it's the right thing. So here's the deal. I welcome your involvement. I once again thank my staff colleagues and my board of directors and my executive committee. But most importantly, I thank you, the women and men, that take the time to, one, get involved in the chamber, and two, invest in the chamber. We've got a lot of work ahead of us in the next year. But I'm going to tell you, it could be very, very exciting because I know we can move Nacogdoches to the next level. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Wayne. I appreciate that. Isn't he such a good speaker? How he gets the tie at the end there. Well, thank you, Wayne. I appreciate it. And guys, I just want to say one more thing about Wayne. You know, he's got, I'm not going to tell you how many years experience, but it's a lot more than me. And we've got to utilize him while we've got him to move our direction that we want our businesses to go and we want our chamber to go. So thank you, Wayne. You're doing a great job. Keep it up. All right, who's ready for some big money rollout?
$50. No. I got the money.
Want to mess up my first eggs and issues. Okay, so our cash drawing, attendance drawing, sponsored by Commercial Bank of Texas. And I need a sponsor from Commercial Bank to come on up, Miss Charlotte Ashcraft. We just made eye contact. You got to do like Rusty. You got to look down at the floor. You got to tie your shoe. Come on. And then we also need someone from Axley and Rhodey. They are $250 sponsor. Axley and Rhodey representative.
And that's for the membership drawing, and you must be present.
Must
Name
be
and
present.
business to win.
So $50 just here. You got, well, somebody's walking away with $50, but they could be $250. So Dr. Holly Smith, would you like to come draw the Axley and Rhodey $250? Okay. Commercial banks, $50.
$50. All right, go.
Go ahead.
You draw. You get your draw. You notice it. It's the winner.
And the winner is, oh my God, Greta Rich from the Family Crisis Center. Now, part of this money, you guys have to spend it locally. You have to shop now for this $50, okay?
And so Holly is going to do the membership, and you must be the name and business name and contact.
I hope she
And if
was
she
wrong.
crawled out Ted Smith,
Her name was drawn about 5 or 6 years ago. She was there.
and you can read it.
Okay, Handprints Academy,
Whose name's on
Elsa Gavin.
it? Elsa from Handprints Academy. Nobody's screaming bingo.
Bingo.
Sorry, Elsa, $250. Come next time. All right. And with that, does anybody have any questions or comments? Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you all for coming, and we'll see you tonight, live after 5, and we got ribbon cutting at 11:45. Watch that one.